right, guys, let's go. Let's hit that live screen button. Let me see, where am I? I'm live on YouTube. Let's see if I'm live on Instagram, Facebook. Let's rock and roll. All right, guys, welcome to the Earn an Interest podcast. My name is Michael James. I am the founder and creator of the Change Goods brand and the Fourth Eye Visions. Fourth Eye Visions is a tech company that I started to help usher you guys into the fourth industrial revolution. One of the things that we're going to talk about on today's episode is, have we become too dependent on technology? In today's current world, I fear, right, that there's a major learning curve with all of this technology, right? And you would see this buzzing word about no code, no code, no code, right? And so I was just thinking about the other day that if everything is no code and everything is done for you, it's how would you know to correct something, right? And I do this every time I dive into ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, and all of these large language models, and I start getting more and more into how these things work. I start to question, is it possible? Like, hear me out. So I'm a firm believer that it's not AI that's going to take your job. It's a human being that is using AI that will take your job. Currently, at the moment, there's going to be a shift, and as you can see, they're ushering in all types of automation. I have a video that I'm going to share with you all that shows how Amazon is already working on replacing workers in order to accommodate that call for the safety of their workers, right? So instead of like improving the working conditions, they found an alternative to it, which is essentially just buying a robot that costs $250,000, right, to replace a worker. And they found out that a robot will replace a worker for every 4 hours of work days, right? And so it's interesting. I'll play that back because I just like randomly listened to the video. So forgive me if I'm not being factually correct, but I'm going to play the video so you can have the information. You'll be able to connect to it there when you do it. But also, what I want to talk about is, what is the fourth eye visions and what do I plan to do with that? Well, as you may know if you follow me on social media, not only am I interested in real estate investing, I'm also a very, very successful cryptocurrency investor. I have a different approach than what most people in the crypto space have. It's because I focus more on the use case of the technology and how it applies to the real world and what is it that it's doing on the blockchain. Whenever I'm researching projects, I'm not looking at it just like, don't get me wrong, I want to make money. Everybody wants to make money, right? But one of the things that I find that is the most important about when you're investing in these cryptocurrency projects, you have to start viewing them like they're these little mini startups that are happening, right? And one of the things that I think is most important for us to understand in these times, right, is that you have to understand where the market is shifting and where it's going, right? It's not just like, so one of the things that I'll speak on, but I want to stay on topic of what I'm talking about. The idea of the fourth eye visions is to teach you all how to use the information that's out there to help you stay on pace with this fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution is both the digital and internet and renewable energy section, right? So of the fourth industrial revolution, and we're shifting into that. I want to give you guys the skills and the knowledge in order to thrive into this market. Because just like this live stream is saying, automation is here, you're going to have to learn how to actually keep pace with these technologies that are taking place right now currently. And one of the things that I fear that many people aren't going to be able to appreciate and understand is that when we start implementing all of these AGIs, GPTs, and chat robots into the market, there's going to be a massive job loss, right? Because at the end of the day, America was built on capitalism, right? So the one thing that we're going to do is we're always going to find a way to actually make money in this market, right? One of the things that many people, sorry about that, guys. One of the things that many people do not understand about this is that there's going to be a time when we all have to eventually learn how to use this technology. And it's going to happen sooner than later, right? There's going to be people who are about in their 50s, 60s, right? That not, I don't 50s, I don't know. I think 60s, 70s, that the people in that era, they probably can get by the rest of their life with having things automated for them, and they won't have to learn it because they're already approaching the retirement age based off the traditional format that we had lived in. And one of the things that I want people to realize is that everything is going to be shifted, right? So one of the things that's most important whenever you are trying to do any of these things, right, is that you have to realize that the way that people feel about things now is exactly how people felt about the first time the cell phone appeared on the market, right? The first time the internet was on there. I remember there was a time where people were saying that they wouldn't put their credit card on the internet. And it was this huge thing, especially within my family, that they were like, I'm not going to put any of my information on the internet. But now we have cell phones that scan your thumbprint, it does retinal scan, facial recognition. You have all of these fintech applications that have all of your banking info. Plaid merges all of your financial services into one place. And as you can see, that the adoption is always there, right? So now that I take that into consideration when I'm doing all of this stuff, because I want you to realize that the key component to all of this is that you have to be able to evolve and adapt. And that's what today's podcast is about. Are we capable of evolving and adapting into these current markets and situations? I say this because, right? So now you can go into Chat GPT, right? You can have never learned how to use any of the Microsoft Office products, right? Whether it be Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and all of this stuff can be done for you, right? At the end of the day, when it comes to making corrections on this, right? And so here's where the prompt engineering, right? So you have to be careful and mindful of things when you're seeing it out there in public that all of these things seem to be having a certain demographic and talking point that they're using, right? So everybody's always trying to sell you on their thing, right? You have to understand that when it comes to like using AI, prompt engineering is one of the most important things that you can do with this technology because prompting is how you communicate with the technology, right? So I'm going into being too tech dependent to where we don't have the education in order to thrive in this current market. So let me check a couple of things here and then we're going to get deeper into it, guys. All right. So check out Instagram here. Yep, yep, yep. All right, everything's good here on the home front. All right, guys. So let's start with the first topic at hand that I want to talk with, right? So we always hear this talk about the mark of the beast, right? And a lot of people do not understand that I I believe that the cell phone is the mark of the beast, right? And so now I want to go back to the thing I was talking about at the beginning in the introduction, right? At the beginning in the introduction, one of the things that is really important to understand is that if you don't know how to use this technology, right, and it comes into your job place, they give you a robot, right, and you have to learn how to work alongside with it, right? But the only education that you have on it, right, is that it never seems to have this situation where you actually understand how to use it because you never learned how to do it in school, right? So now you have to think about the financial literacy curve, and now you're not only having a financial literacy curve, now everything around you is based on technology, and you're trying to learn old world skills, right? And but everything is being automated, right? Whether it's the self checkout, you can see it. Like at some point, the age demographic of the working class, right? And this goes into why I was saying that I wanted to talk about universal basic income because I believe that it's going to be so necessary because of the massive learning curve in technology and having everything done for you, that you have now been too intimidated to actually do and perform these tasks, right? So this is what I mean. Let's dive deeper into this, right? What I'm implying here is that because you've never understood how to use basics of technology, when your job comes to you and asks you to improve and try to level up in the job place, right? And let's say they even pay. They're going to pay for your school, right? They're going to pay for your school and they're going to charge you $20 a month, right? So you start taking the classes, right? And the first thing it's going to teach you is just basic entry level stuff, right? So now, if you're a person who's never focused on technology, but everything around you is tech, the minute that you look at those tests, the coursework, and the outline, you're going to be intimidated by it, right? So when you see this and you have the intimidation going, right, it's going to make you want to drop out of school. See, and that's the thing that I want you to realize is that because of that learning curve, you're going to be a person who's not, you're going to be so intimidated that the opportunity that's given to you, even though they're paying for your school, you're not going to go to it because you're too intimidated by the coursework. So then that's going to stunt your growth, right? So then guess what? And I'm going to put everything that I'm talking about into one case. So if you're intimidated by learning it, right, or you're a person of the mindset who feels like you don't ever have to learn it, right, or and it be that even basic math skills, right, because now like you don't know how to do anything from scratch at this point, almost nothing. And this is the part that's dangerous to me. And the reason why I'm making this live stream and why I'm going to constantly talk about this is the massive learning curve on this technology stuff, right? And the general knowledge of the population, right? It's going to level the playing field like sever, not even level. It's going to sever it. You're not going to be able to compete because you're not even going to understand how this works. And then now everybody's launching no code, no code, no code, no code, right? So you don't have to know code. All you have to know is this, this, this. So when that system and process breaks down, the only person who could come in on the back end and fix it is the person who knows code. But you have built this entire business based off no code that not even understanding the basic fundamentals of coding, you're at a major disservice at this point. So one of the things that I want you guys to start thinking about and considering is go to YouTube and check out the CS 50, right? Computer Science 50, which is Harvard's computer science program that they offer available to the general public for free, right? And of course, you may think that it has something that it's missing, but the part is that you don't have an outline, right? You don't have anybody holding you accountable. There's no testing, right? You just have to do it yourself. But this is the new world that we live in. This is the place this is where we're going. Most education is going to happen online from experienced people who allows you to learn at your own curve. But the thing is you're going to have to pay for those, right? You're going to have to pay for this education because the free stuff, I really believe that if you do not pay for it, you do not appreciate it, right? If you do not pay, you do not play, is what I say. So now what I want you to realize is that while all of these things are going on, right, I want you to understand that if you don't understand how to use the code, right, you don't understand how any of this stuff works. You don't know how to educate yourself, right? So there's levels. So there's another stepping stone to this that is the climax of all of this that I'm talking about here, right? Is that if you do not understand how often and how frequently things changes and shift, and you don't understand the basic intels of coding, technology, how to use a spreadsheet, how to use Microsoft Word or Google Docs, slides, PowerPoint, and all these things, right? And then you just enter into ChatGPT, do this for me, right? Yes, success loves speed. I can hear all the entrepreneurs out there as well. Success loves speed, right? But is it sustainable? And this is what I mean about sustainability. Is what you're doing actually sustainable, right? And see, here's the thing. It's not. Because the minute The thing that, so it's like, it's simple. The theory is if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, right? No code is giving a man a fish, right? Teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime, right? See, the thing about all this automation stuff is that it's just giving you fish over and over and over again. So you have to start realizing that you're either going to have to learn it yourself, or here's the alternative, and this is where it gets dark, and this is where it's not a conspiracy, this is just where I see it going, right? Is that at the end of the day, when you can't compete in the marketplace, right? The technology has gone too far for you, right? The cost of living is too high, right? And I'm somebody who doesn't believe that the cost of living is ever going to be affordable. The concept and the idea of a livable wage is an absolute myth. It's because every person requires something different to live. Other people have different skill sets, right? So what I think the solution to the livable wage is universal basic income. And the reason that is because the same demographic of people who think livable wage will agree, right? They will agree to a price that they believe people should be able to live, right? But what happens when that person who calls it a livable wage, right? Their family expands, right? And then what if you want to expand yourself? The livable wage is going to be locked in at one certain rate because our economy is going to revolve around it. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I think it's one of the solutions that handle the people who aren't going to be willing to do the things that it takes to actually level up and build skills or skill stacking in this current market, that they're going to be the people who are ripe for universal basic income. There's somebody out there right now who's probably listening to this that doesn't even understand that they're not even going to want to do this themselves, right? I don't deal with Chat GPT. I don't want to do Google Gemini. I don't like self checkout. I don't like how they're using robots, right? But here's the thing: there's so many nuances that's going to change the economy, like the migration that's happened with the immigrants coming in, right? And although this may be controversial, you have to understand that the immigrants are willing to do the jobs that jaded Americans will not. Whether how they got here or not is not what I'm trying to argue. What I'm trying to say is that somebody who sees opportunity, right, and is coming for that opportunity will do what it takes without having to be coddled the way that the people who are just nurtured by the environment and living conditions of America, it stunts your growth. You're not hungry. Like you may think that like what you consider a livable wage is that maybe you know that you need to have Wi-Fi. Because then guess what? If you don't have Wi-Fi today, how much is cable? Can you afford basic cable? Right? How do you get a job if you don't have Wi-Fi, right? You need a cell phone, right? All of these things you need requires technology. And this is what I'm talking about. That the more and more you start realizing that technology runs everything, you're going to have to learn how to do these things, right? You're going to have to learn when, where, and why all of these things are going to happen, right? So now, just to clarify, we already decided that the first thing that's going to happen is technology is actually going to not only price you out, it's going to stunt your ability to grow. And if you're not a person who's willing to learn new things and new trades, it's going to price you out. And I fear that we have reached a point in society, right, that we're so comfortable with where we're at that everything's done for you, right? You don't even have to go grocery shopping. You can get on your phone, right? And it's convenience. They're selling you on convenience. All of this stuff is selling you on the convenience, right? And then this is where I'm going in to my dark section. The convenience, right? And this is where it goes into the matrix, right? So remember, the matrix is a program, right? The matrix is a program. And this is why I believe we already live in it. And the only thing we're going to do is expand upon it. And we're going to merge human and machine. And then our dystopian and sci-fi theories will all come to fruition because society will need it to survive. Because everything will thrive on automation. It's already there. I went to a Scotty event, which is the Space Coast Alliance of Tech and Innovation, and there was a guy, Corey Cook, who was there, and he is the senior project manager for logistics at Lockheed Martin. And he was saying that this technology is already here. There's going to be job loss, and they're expecting it. He said they were expecting it. And what are you going to do, right? So this is where I'm going with this. You already, so let's say we're here now. You already don't want to learn new things, right? You already don't like self-checkout. You wish you could go back to the 5 and dime days where the cashier was a staple in the community, right? That doesn't exist anymore. You may be the person who thinks that cash is king, right? But let me tell you, there's this report where the CIA, 25% of all the money in circulation is in cash. The rest is all digital. So whether you like cryptocurrency or not, most of your transaction is digital. Think about it. When you go to pay your mortgage, do you go to the bank and make a cash withdrawal, walk over to the title company or the mortgage company and make a mortgage payment? No, it's electronically deposited into different accounts, right? Just these magical numbers. That's why when people, like I still sometimes in comment sections have to argue with people on the internet when I tell them money isn't real. Well, if you think money isn't real, just give me your money, right? And I was like, no. What I'm telling you is that you work every day for a digital number that even, think about it, you can go to work and because you're not getting cash at the end of the day, there is a good chance that you can go to work and you just got paid and then the day after, like they file for Chapter 11, you work 2 more weeks at this place, right? And you'll never receive your money, right? Because it's a digital number. And then you can say all these laws and more paperwork and more imaginary things that require special situations in order to get in special processes. And you think that all these laws are definitely going to guarantee you safety. It's just like assuming that the FDIC is going to have all of your money in your savings account whenever you get a cyber attack. And you think that cryptocurrency is risky. And like, at least when I get my money back, like people get their identity stolen every day and lose a percentage of their money by being hacked, by being reckless and careless on the internet, right? It's not just a cryptocurrency and blockchain technology issue, right? And then what I'm trying to say is we're just now at the beginning stages of adoption of blockchain technology. This is what you have to understand, is that we're currently in a place, right? So now, the more and more that you start thinking and doing all of these things, right? So you don't want to learn. You don't want to learn these things. It's too hard. I can't get a job. I need universal basic income, right? So let's say you get the universal basic income, right? You try to expand universal basic income. You most likely won't get hired. Who knows? I don't know any of these things. None of these things. I'm just spitballing and talking about just certain situations and demographics, right? And it's just you have to start understanding how once that happens, the next thing that's going to happen is that you're going to be begging for a solution, right? So I want you to think about what is a solution, right? Let's think about this for a second. What is a solution for somebody who wants to thrive in a tech dominant space, right? But you don't want to actually go and take the courses. You don't want to improve your value in the marketplace by learning new skills, right? You're an old dog. You can't learn new tricks, right? And first of all, like it's not even just that you're an old dog that can't lose new tricks. The learning curve is too far. Like we're talking about large language models, right? And there's people who never even tried to learn JavaScript, right? And then people make jokes about MySpace and all that other stuff, but this is what I'm talking about. The gap on learning is so far away. This is why it's just not me. I'm not undermining people, right? The gap of where AI, large language model, machine learning, right, and all of those things, where those are at, right, and basic code, right? We're talking Web 2, Web3 stuff, right? Down here. But an AI dominant, like look at NVIDIA. Look at what Microsoft's doing. Look at what Meta's doing. Look at what Apple's doing. Look at what the financial sector is getting into, blockchain technology. Look at it. Open your eyes, right? Open your eyes, take around and look what's going on. So you don't have any hope, right? You don't know how you're going to be able to keep up in this marketplace, right? The cost of living is so high, but all of the high paying jobs require some tech knowledge, right? So what's your solution to that? And that, my friend, is called the long con of why people will be begging to put the chip in their head, right? And so now you got all these people, right? It's because, yeah, now if you have your own, think about this now. The learning curve is so large between basic technology and current AI, large language models, machine learning, right? People don't want to learn new skills, right? The cost of living is too high for people, right? And I just want you to hear me out. This is the most important part of the entire thing that I'm talking about here. That the cost of living is so high, the skills that you need in order, the high paying jobs now are all tech based, right? You've never even learned how to use Microsoft Office. So when your job tells you that, hey, we're even going to pay for your education, right? You go take the classes. The first time you take the classes, you don't even realize that, oh my God, I don't know anything about tech. You're intimidated. You drop out, right? So then what do? You go back, let's say you take the universal basic income, right? You take the universal basic income, then you decide that, hey, I need to go back to the marketplace, right? So then when you go back to the marketplace, the next thing that you need to understand, right, is that, oh my God, I don't know how to do any of this stuff, but I need this money. How do I compete in the marketplace if I can't learn this stuff as fast as anybody else? Just like I started with this live stream, the title of it, right? We're dependent on tech, right? So if you depend on tech, but you don't have the education to actually keep pace, to actually get high skilled jobs in the tech space, or even entry level ones, right? Because think about it, entry level tech skills now are eliminated by AI. So even if you try to learn these things, right? So even if you start trying to learn how to do this stuff, what business? I wouldn't hire somebody to do spreadsheets for me. AI would do it for me. I don't need you to do bookkeeping. AI can do it for me. And it can do a very good job at it, right? So what I'm talking about is even the entry level tech skills. Nope. And a lot of people make fun of all the content creators out here and the TikTokers and stuff like that. But that is the new entry level skills. Those are ways to make money. Figure out how to make videos, right? Edit them, post them, figure out how to do all this stuff because that is going to be the thing that actually you'll be able to leverage the tech companies by advertising and get affiliate marketing, right? You can do e-commerce, learn how to automate systems, right? And then you can play into the consumer market. But now, the point that I'm making is if you don't want to learn the skills, right? Go into the matrix, right? How about I just download it into you, right? You want to learn how to do this stuff? How about I just download it into your brain? Remember in the Matrix when he was like, hey, do you know how to fly that thing? And she goes, not yet. Then she gets on the phone. What does she do? I forgot the guy's name, calls him up, downloads the program into her brain, she flies the plane, right? That's what's coming. If you can't see it, there's going to be people begging because they need opportunity to experiment, to put the chip in their brain, right? And so now, to go back into that, that's what I meant by the mark of the beast. Because you've already been groomed for this, right? When AT&T went down, people realized how dependent they were on their phone. When Facebook and Instagram went down, everyone realized, well, some people realized on how very little control they have over their processes, right? Have you ever think about cloud computing, right? Your own CRMs in your business, your SOPs, and all this stuff that you have in either a OneDrive, Google Drive, or in some kind of cloud, Amazon Web Services, all of that, right? The minute those places decide that we're having technical difficulties, you're operating a business, you have nothing, right? And this is myself included. The thing that I just want you to realize is that at the beginning of all this stuff, that's when all of this has to happen. So now that you're begging to have the chip in your brain, right? At what cost, right? And then before people think that the chip is the mark of the beast, the cell phone is. And why do I think the cell phone is the mark of the beast? Because what do you think has been grooming you to be dependent on technology this entire time? Whether it's AT&T, Facebook, Instagram, Google, what is the thing that you use the most every day that has allowed you to be groomed by technology? What do you think that people use today to do a quick Google search when they're having an argument, right? No one goes to the library to read a book. It's too slow to read a book. Summarize this for me. Create an audio book. Read it to me so I can listen to it, right? Tell me a bedtime story so I can go to sleep. Everything has been automated, and you loved it already. This isn't some conspiracy. Even the biggest conspiracy theorists out there, right? Everything has suffered from automation or has been exposed to automation, not suffered from it, right? Everything has been exposed to automation. The way you do your bookkeeping at your construction job, the way you collect payments, right? You're using tech. You're not taking checks anymore. You don't want checks. Some people still take checks, and it's okay. But I challenge you to actually look at your business, right? And even if you're somebody who's like, cash is king, I'll never go digital, right? If you do not, if you don't have enough cash right now, over the next 10 years, all of that, I'm only going to do with cash. Only 25% of all circulating US dollars is in physical cash. Now, if you think places like Amazon, Apple, because everybody loves those cell phones, everybody loves Apple's phones and those blue bubbles, right? If you think they're not going to eat up that 25% with that cash, right? And even, I don't care if you're sitting on $1 million in cash in a Foot Locker in your backyard. That's such a fraction of the amount of circulating, right? There's not enough cash. Then what I'm talking about is that $1 million, what's the purchasing power of $1 million? Like, you have to look at all the variables, right? And so the real lesson is I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to wake you up. Wake up. It's time to learn some new skills. It's time that you start realizing that we're in a new world. We're in a new era. This is the best time to be alive as a human. It's also the most scariest time that you've ever seen. But what I'm trying to tell you is that you'll be begging to put that chip in your brain once you realize that all of this tech stuff is beyond your learning curve. And, is that you have to start understanding and like, what are you going to do about it? What's the best thing that you have? What's the thing that you're going to do the most, right? And then so CTSSOPS. There you go. All right. Sorry guys, but what? That's my son on the cell phone right now. He's got the mark of the beast in his hand, right? Like, like he's gonna have to learn it to survive in his time. Like, and even though I don't look at it, the mark of the beast is a bad thing, right? And then and that's not from a religious perspective. I'm saying that what else are you going to do, right? So guys, I only was going to do this for 30 minutes today, but I'm going to do a bunch of shorts and a bunch of other things showing you guys and telling you guys about what we talked about today. If you're somebody who wants to learn how to thrive and get the proper information, maybe learn how to create financial freedom in the fourth industrial revolution, consider joining my waitlist to be into the Fourth Eye Visions Academy. And that's where I would teach you blockchain technology, how to invest in cryptocurrency, financial literacy in the fourth industrial revolution, how to utilize AI, and how to build businesses in this new era, guys. Please feel free to reach out to me. Be sure that if you're watching this on YouTube to like, subscribe, and share this with a friend, and stay tuned for more. And thank you guys so much for listening to the Earn an Interest podcast. And I look forward to seeing you guys and hearing from you guys. You have a great day.